School is officially back in session for the 2015-2016 academic year. How have you been faring? Students, how are your new class teachers? Parents, was it smooth getting your children off to school? And teachers, are you ready and raring to go? We here at the GIS wish you, all of you, a very productive and successful year. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson, your host for today's show. September is a very special month for a number of reasons, one of which is raising awareness about one of the most common diseases affecting Jamaican men. You'll have to stick around to find out how you can decrease your risk of contracting and increasing your chance of surviving this disease. The magazine starts right now.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo!
A good education will never decay.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Monday, September 7. A Council of Economy has been established to drive the development of a regional economic zone involving the nations that are party to the PetroCaribe agreement. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro made the announcement on Saturday following discussions at the 10th anniversary commemorative summit of the PetroCaribe agreement in Montego Bay. President Maduro said that over the next 10 years, the Council of Economy would build on the achievements already made and charged leaders in attendance to give it their full support.
So that Council of Economy be at the face and have a colossal task before it of the next few years to do, and of this decade that we have stated, 2015, 2025, to achieve this, to transform then the economic, commercial reality as well as the financial one of all of the Caribbean in the next 10 years to create a powerful economic zone in the Caribbean region.
Under the PetroCaribe agreement, Venezuela provides oil to member countries on preferential conditions. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has hailed the achievements of the PetroCaribe agreement, calling it a lifeline for struggling countries in the region. During her address to the PetroCaribe summit, Mrs. Simpson Miller said its impact on the economic independence of the region was significant. She pointed to the estimated $4 billion spent for the socio-economic development of participating countries. The money paid for 432 social projects to improve standard of living within the region.
Our meeting today underscores the pledge of the countries of the region to support each other as we explore available options for building our economies and securing the development of our people.
Mrs. Simpson Miller added that the PetroCaribe agreement would continue to ensure the energy security of the region while promoting greater trade and other cooperation. And the Prime Minister expressed Jamaica's gratitude for the Simon Bolivar Cultural Center at an official opening ceremony in downtown Kingston on Sunday. The center was paid for by the Venezuelan government and the PetroCaribe Development Fund.
It is intended to promote and develop cultural programs for a better understanding of Latin America and the Caribbean culture.
The center, located at North Parade, has a library, interpretation room, a language lab, multi-purpose room for lectures and performances, as well as administrative offices. The opening ceremony coincided with the 200th anniversary of Simon Bolivar's famous Carta de Jamaica, which paved the way for unity between Latin America and the Caribbean. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who attended the ceremony, also laid a wreath at the Simon Bolivar statue located at Heroes Circle. In other news, pensioners and other members of the public who do business with government should expect shorter processing times for payments thanks to a new treasury management system at the Accountant General's Department, AGD. The system rolled out in June, and officials say the AGD is now in charge of central cash management, which means it's making payments on behalf of all government ministries, departments, and agencies.
A lot of the Accountant General's processes have been manual for many years, so we are actually changing out those manual systems into a much more rigorous ICT centric operations.
Speaking at a GIS think tank last week, Ms. McIntosh explained the benefits for various groups, including pensioners whose checks can now be processed in 5 hours rather than the previous 5 weeks. Government is taking steps to broaden the tourism product by developing the Milk River Hotel and Spa in Clarendon and the Bath Fountain Hotel and Spa in St. Thomas. Tourism Minister Dr. Wickham McNeil says the Development Bank of Jamaica is to establish an enterprise team to guide the process. The 10-member enterprise team will make recommendations on the management of both properties. While that process is in train, some rehabilitation work is being done, targeting the west wing of the Milk River Hotel and Spa.
This expenditure of just over $50 million to renovate the west wing will include the demolition and alterations, the upgrading of the electrical systems, the ceiling and floor finishes, painting and decoration, plumbing installation, mechanical installation, and the replacement of leaking and damaged roof sheeting and frame.
Money for the project is coming from the Tourism Enhancement Fund. The work is slated to begin this week and last about a month. It's being done by C&D Construction and Engineering Company Limited under the supervision of the Tourism Product Development Company. And finally, the Education Ministry is reporting that most of the nearly 1,000 public schools opened without incident today. Education Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaite stopped by to check on a few corporate area schools this morning and gave the GIS an update.
All the reports so far are that most schools have done extremely well in starting up. There have been a few difficulties as usual, but we haven't had any major ones. And where there are problems of water, the regional offices have funds to assist principals with the trucking of water. Where there's a shortage of desks, please let us know as quickly as possible. And where there is still construction in process, please adjust as best you can and pardon the progress.
And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thanks for watching. Fever, rash, joint pain, and red eyes. All common signs of the Zika virus or ZIKV. Symptoms are usually mild, lasting anywhere from a few days to a week. Jamaica has no Zika cases, but if it gets here, it would only be transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Don't give Zika a chance. Prevent the breeding of these pesky mosquitoes.
The use of oil, cooking oil, a little tip of cooking oil poured on the surface of the water suffocates the larvae and prevents them hatching out. So persons can do that.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller was in back-to-school mode last week. She issued 41 scholarships valued at over $8.5 million to deserving tertiary-level students last Thursday. Hear more about that event plus others in Jamaica House Weekly.
Prime Minister calls for scope of PetroCaribe to be broadened. Simon Bolivar Cultural Center officially opened. And government continues to support Jamaican athletes. This is Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller is calling for the scope of the PetroCaribe agreement to be broadened to focus on critical issues facing the region.
The future of the PetroCaribe agreement is infused with hope and even greater possibilities. The establishment of the PetroCaribe Economic Zone and the Plan of Action for Hunger Eradication and Poverty are two major initiatives currently underway that are poised to strengthen the economic, cultural, social, and productive foundations of partner countries.
Under the PetroCaribe agreement, which was implemented in 2005, Venezuela supplies member countries with oil on preferential conditions. The PetroCaribe Development Fund, which oversees the agreement, ensures that money is available to pay Venezuela when the oil debt payments are due. The fund later invests in a number of projects to support economic growth.
It has made major contributions to improving the socio-economic development of states through investments totaling just under $4 billion in 432 social projects to foster improvements in the standard of living of our people.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the summit and a plenary session in Montego Bay to mark the 10th anniversary of the PetroCaribe agreement. And after completing the Montego Bay leg of the PetroCaribe anniversary celebrations, the Prime Minister journeyed to Kingston to mark another aspect of foreign relations. Mrs. Simpson-Miller and the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at the statue of Simón Bolívar at the National Heroes Circle. She later journeyed to North Parade in downtown Kingston to officially open the Simón Bolívar Cultural Center. The aim of the center is to develop programs to better understand the Latin American culture. It will also recognize the role of Simón Bolívar and promote principles of unity as outlined in Simón Bolívar's Carta de Jamaica.
The Jamaica letter also provides important lessons in history and sets out clearly Bolívar's vision of a free, independent, new world uniting the countries of Latin America.
The Simón Bolívar Cultural Center was funded by the Venezuelan government and the PetroCaribe Development Fund. It was constructed by the Urban Development Corporation and will be managed by the Institute of Jamaica. The Sport Ministry, in tandem with other stakeholders, continues to implement key aspects of the national sports policy. Requests for proposals have already been issued to provide insurance coverage for about 1,500 athletes across sporting disciplines.
We are awaiting favorable responses, and I am eagerly awaiting the day when I can hand the first athlete his or her health insurance card. This will provide support to our national athletes and allow them to receive the requisite health screening as well as preventative and remedial health care.
The minister was speaking at the press launch to open nominations for the 11th annual Courtney Walsh Award for Excellence. The award seeks to recognize exemplary qualities in Jamaican athletes who represent the country at a senior level.
All members of this honorable house, join me in extending best wishes to our young athletes who are about to take part in the 2015 Commonwealth Youth Games in Samoa from September 5 to 12.
During that statement to Parliament last week, the Prime Minister also paid tribute to the senior athletes who competed at the recently concluded IAAF World Championships. She also praised the contribution of athletes in other sporting disciplines who have represented Jamaica in various competitions since the start of the year. Meanwhile, Minister without Portfolio Natalie Nita-Headley voiced support for the Reggae Boys as they started their campaign to the 2018 World Cup. The Reggae Boys lost 2-3 to Nicaragua at the National Stadium Friday night. And finally, the Prime Minister sought to strengthen Jamaica's relationship with the United Kingdom during a meeting with British Minister for the Caribbean Grant Shapps. Mrs. Simpson-Miller thanked the British government for supporting Jamaica's fight against crime and drugs. Both parties also pledged to continue cooperation in areas of investment and bilateral trade. The Prime Minister also moved to strengthen Jamaica-Caribbean relations through a courtesy call with His Excellency Alfonso Monera, Secretary General of the Association of Caribbean States. And that's it for this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next week for the latest from the Office of the Prime Minister.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next Prime Minister.
Children in Jamaica constitute anyone who is under the age of 18 years. And so once you have a child who is under your care and supervision, we encourage you at the Office of the Children's Advocate to always know where your children are. It doesn't mean that you have to be there with them, but you certainly know who they're with, where they're going, and the purpose for being there. This is a key component in helping to establish some rules in terms of some ground rules and helping to guide your children towards responsible and sensible choices, and also assisting you if something were to go wrong to know what is the first point of contact to assist your child. While you're not to look at everybody as a potential suspect, that you need to be very wary of adults, whether they're in positions of authority or not, that seek to want to have a very close relationship with your child. Somebody who wants to invite your child on an outing and it's just that adult and your child alone. Somebody who wants to take your child to a very special event to reward the child, perhaps for some performance that the child would have done in an extracurricular activity or for academic excellence. We encourage you to look at these situations very carefully and to determine whether or not it's an appropriate meeting or outing that this person is propositioning for your child. If you're enrolling your child in a daycare, ensure that you know something about the track record of that daycare. Ensure that the daycare has what we call an open door policy, which allows you to go in, see what's happening, observe how the workers there interact with the children, and know some of the ground rules that guide these interactions. If they're going on outings, whether it be school trips or otherwise, ensure that at some point, even if you can't go to all, you do attend some of them, so you get yourself integrated into the system and the culture of the school. For these tips, and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to me, sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
At the start of our program, we spoke about a disease that's common among Jamaican men over the age of 40. Do you know what disease that is? If you thought of prostate cancer, then you are indeed correct. Get the details next.
Prostate cancer is a disease in which cancer develops in the prostate gland, that is, the male reproductive system. The prostate is said to be as small as a walnut. Though small in size, it has two very important functions.
It produces about 20% of the volume of semen, and the semen that is produced by the prostate is important in providing a nutritive role as well as a supporting role for the sperm cells as they travel in the female genital tract. The second function of the prostate is that it contracts and helps to prevent retrograde ejaculation. That is, when a man ejaculates, the prostate closes off or pinches off the communication between the bladder and the urine passage and prevents semen from going back into the bladder.
Medical experts say the precise cause of prostate cancer is not known. Research suggests, however, that a combination of factors may play a role. These include age. Men who are in their 50s are most likely to have the disease. Prostate cancer is rare in men younger than 40. Ethnicity. Black men have a higher risk of getting the disease than any other racial group. Nationality. Prostate cancer is most common in North America, Northwestern Europe, Australia, and the Caribbean. Genetic. Prostate cancer seems to run in some families, which suggests that in some cases there may be an inherited or genetic factor. Having a father or brother with prostate cancer more than doubles a man's risk of developing this disease. Diet. Men who eat a lot of red meat or high-fat dairy products appear to have a slightly higher chance of getting prostate cancer. Consultant urologist Dr. William Aiken says prostate cancer usually does not produce any noticeable symptoms in its early stages. So, in many cases, it is not detected until the cancer has spread beyond the prostate.
Men generally tend to be very stoic. They don't go to the doctor unless they're having severe pain or unless their sexual function is affected or for some very important reason that they deem important. So men traditionally do not go to the doctor.
Dr. Aiken says this is why it is important for men, especially those over 40, to overcome their macho image or their fair and get tested at least once a year. Because prostate cancer usually does not give rise to signs and symptoms, the first indication of a problem can only be detected during a routine screening test. Dr. Aiken says, contrary to popular belief, the tests for prostate cancer are simple. They include the digital rectal examination.
The digital rectal examination involves the doctor putting his or her gloved and lubricated finger in the back passage or anus and feeling the surface of the prostate for any irregularity, as well as feeling the consistency for any change in it. Men have traditionally found this test to be very invasive, very unpalatable, and there is a homophobia in our society, as you know, where men don't want anything going near their anus.
Dr. Aiken assures that the procedure is quick and quite painless.
What I have discovered over the years, though, is that when men eventually do come for this test and they realize that it is a painless test, it lasts anywhere between 5 and 10 seconds. If done by a urologist who is accustomed to doing it, they very often express they very often say that had they known the test was so quick, so painless, they would have come many years ago to have the test done.
The other test that is done in addition to the digital rectal examination is the prostate-specific antigen PSA test. During this test, a blood sample is drawn from a vein and analyzed for prostate-specific antigen. This is a substance that's naturally produced by a man's prostate gland to help liquefy the semen.
Both of them need to be done because there are a minority of cancers, prostate cancers, where the blood test may be normal, but the rectal exam may be abnormal. So clearly, if you were to do the blood test alone, you would miss those cancers, albeit a small minority. So it is important to do both tests. If either one of those tests is abnormal, then we go on to do what is called a biopsy. A biopsy is where we take living tissue, we take tissue from the living person and send it to the pathologist for it to be examined to see whether or not there is an abnormality with that tissue.
If prostate cancer is detected early, it can be treated successfully.
If prostate cancer is discovered at the curable stage, when it is still confined to the prostate, we can remove the prostate surgically, we can give radiotherapy, there are even other methods now, such as cryotherapy and other therapies which are still considered experimental and are not in widespread use. But the point is, when the cancer is confined to the prostate, it is curable, and therefore, once it is treated, the man can enjoy a normal life expectancy.
Dr. Aiken points out that there is a common myth that after surgery, the man will not be able to return to a normal sex life.
It's important for men to understand, though, that erectile function cannot miraculously be excellent after surgery if it wasn't excellent to begin with. In other words, if a man has poor erectile function before surgery or no erectile function, he's not going to have good erectile function after surgery. Now remember, the vast majority of the patients with prostate cancer that we're operating on are in their 60s, perhaps early 70s. A lot of these men have erectile dysfunction to begin with. And having had an operation, erectile function tends to be worsened. But as I said earlier, we do have methods to facilitate the recovery of erectile function. And as I said, usually in an 18-month period, if the nerves are spared, recovery of erectile function will take place.
Prostate cancer may be prevented. Here are a few simple tips that may help you prevent prostate cancer. Eat healthy. Diets have been linked to prostate cancer. Therefore, limiting your intake of high-fat foods and eating more fruits, vegetables, and whole fibers may help you reduce your risk. Foods rich in lycopene, an antioxidant, also may help lower your prostate cancer risk. These foods are said to include raw or cooked tomatoes, tomato products, grapefruit, and watermelon. Garlic and some vegetables such as broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower also may help fight cancer. Vitamin E is also said to be an important element in the fight against prostate cancer, especially among smokers. Exercise regularly. Exercise has been shown to strengthen your immune system, improve circulation, and speed up digestion, all of which may play a role in cancer prevention. If you're over 40, it is also very important to visit your doctor at least once a year to get tested for the disease. Prostate cancer is real. Prostate cancer may be prevented. Get tested today.
Mr. God, you know I didn't want to ask you this question a long time. Do you have a JADEP card? You know, if you have a JADEP card, it can save you lots of money when you go to the pharmacy.
Man, certainly, man. I have my own JADEP card, man. I've had it for quite some time now. That's helped me tremendously with my health condition.
That's nice.
Senior citizens on the Jamaica Drug for the Elderly program. Take your card to participating government or private pharmacies that display the JADEP sign. Then collect your monthly supply of approved drugs for the chronic illnesses covered by the program. To know more, call the toll-free number 1-888-GO-JADEP. That's 1-888-465-2337.
The ongoing drought may make us forget the fact that we're still in the hurricane season. If you weren't tuned to regional news, then you would have heard of the 31 persons who lost their lives in Dominica with the passage of Tropical Storm Erika. You would have also heard of the extensive infrastructural damage sustained by the small island nation. Tropical Storm Erika has also impacted Haiti and the Dominican Republic. While we extend our sympathies to our Caribbean friends, we must use their experience to prepare ourselves for natural disasters. Be sure to prepare a hurricane survival kit. Your kit should include enough water, food, medication, and any other item you may require to weather the storm. A first aid kit plus tools and supplies to do minor repairs are must-haves. Clothing and bedding, along with sanitation items such as toilet paper, bleach, and disinfectant, should also form part of your survival kit. For more preparation tips, click on odpem.gov.jm or call 1-888-991-4262.
The PetroCaribe Development Fund has been helping to transform the Jamaican landscape for over 9 years, expanding our roadways, modernizing our airports, facilitating the creation of jobs and providing academic scholarships, reshaping communities and improving sanitation facilities. The PetroCaribe Development Fund, moving beyond energy security. To find out more about the fund, call 960-9110 or visit their website, petrocaribejm.org.
And that's all we have for you, but only for today. The magazine returns tomorrow around about the same time on this station. But you can catch up on the latest information by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm, or join us on our social media platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. For GIS news, reviews, and updates on the go, download our mobile app from the Google Play Store. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Pleasant viewing.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.